Gacha game anniversaries are weird. For free games like this, it's not uncommon to offer players special bonuses around the time of an anniversary. In a way, it's meant to celebrate the support the players have offered as well as the effort developers have put into their games. Around these times, expectations are always a bit higher, as these events tend to offer more rewards for players compared to the usual patches. And developers either have to meet those expectations or face the burning rage of their fans. And today, that rage is directed at Persona 5, the Phantom X.
I feel like I saw something about that online too. They sent out a calling card for real.
Around May of this year, the anniversary was teased. We got a glimpse at some promising rewards, including a 5-star character selector and a 5-star weapon selector. On top of this, there was the release of Ange, the strongest navigator in the game, who was originally released in the original servers around the same time frame, so about a year into the game's release. To those unaware, Ange's abilities allow one character to gain an extra turn, while also reverting them to their state before they acted. So in short form, any expired or used buffs will be restored. This will be important later. There's also a popularity poll that was being done. We're not sure what the rewards are going to be in regards to this, whether we're going to get something from it, whether we're going to get a new unit from it, but we'll have to see what happens. It really could be anything. They haven't told us what's going to happen. Within the community, there was a lot of talk concerning a synchronized patch for the global anniversary. People were suspecting this after the synchronized patch for the half anniversary, which gave all servers a brand new character at the same time in the form of the Velvet Twins from Persona 5. Of course, people would expect a new sync unit patch for the full anniversary. This only made expectations grow. With the Persona 3 Reload collaboration, those outside of the know were guessing that Elizabeth would be the character. There were also some people suspecting Kotone, Persona 3's FemC. But thanks to word of mouth, if you crawled into any community discussions, there was already a good chance you knew exactly who the unit was beforehand. People who knew, as it is common with any leaks, really wouldn't keep quiet once the word got out. And in June, the unit reveal came. And this character was hit Vocaloid singer Hatsune Miku. Fan reaction seemed to trend from mixed to negative. A character who is not from Persona being used to celebrate the anniversary of a Persona game didn't sit well with a lot of people. To many, it felt like a slap in the face. Instead of getting a unit people were hoping for, we got someone nearly completely separate from the IP this game is based off of. Still, things continued as planned. The developers of this game are not so weak-willed as to cancel something long in production just because some people were upset. Anyways, alongside Miku, there was also the anniversary rewards. This included a boatload of freemium currency, as well as another 5-star character selector that included units released up until early this year. All in all, this wasn't a bad anniversary in terms of rewards. I think a majority of players would agree that we aren't really losing out on that front. But the problem remained with Miku. Speaking of which, do you remember when I told you to keep in mind what Ange does? Well, Miku is another navigator. Better yet, another navigator that is capable of giving allies extra turns. On the surface, it looks like Ange was replaced immediately after she was added, leaving yet another sour taste in people's mouths. But to be transparent, she is not a complete replacement. Ange's core function is to add extra turns to one ally, or add a extra turn to one ally, and revert them to the state before they took their turn. So you can do things like this. Miku instead offers extra turns team-wide, which sounds strong, and it is, but she does not reverse character states, meaning this is not possible in the same way. She still does fill an incredibly similar niche to Ange, which makes this even more conflicting. People were not happy about this, and it resulted in a lot of public outcry about Miku and the anniversary in general. On top of this, Miku was also introduced into the world of P5X, and it's literally this. Not basically, not kind of, literally. I mean that by the definition of the word. It is a 1-minute cutscene of the characters going, "Wow, Hatsune Miku," which is underwhelming but funny at best. To add to that, the anniversary event itself for Miku is nothing to write home about. She did get a handful of rhythm game songs and a standard boss fight event, but other than that, this event's just pretty empty. Again, the rest of the anniversary stuff is fine, some simple collection events for some easy gems and resources, I truly don't mind that. But the problem lies with the Miku portion of the patch. As special as she's supposed to be as a collab, it feels kind of bare bones. Anyways, I'm getting away from the informative part here, this is not really supposed to be about my opinions yet. We'll touch back on this later. And after the moderate amount of fan outcry, we got this. To read off, from the operations team of Persona 5 The Phantom X, our thanks for 1 year of service and what's next for Persona 5 The Phantom X. Thank you for playing Persona 5 The Phantom X. As of June 26, Persona 5 The Phantom X has welcomed its first anniversary. In the year since we launched, we followed the Phantom Thieves as they live their lives, overcome many battles, and meet new friends, growing the world of P5X and the stories it tells step by step. On behalf of our development team and operations team, please accept our heartfelt thanks for your support on this journey. Today, we are writing to share our appreciation for our players and to discuss some of the feedback you've shared with us, looking back on a year of P5X. In the year since our launch in 2025, we've reached Chapter 4 of the main story, bringing new adventures to P5X. In our special events with Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, Wonder and the P5X Phantom Thieves joined forces with the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. And in December of 2025, with the addition of Justine and Caroline, we saw the very first worldwide event deployed at the same time across the Chinese, Asia, Japanese, and English versions of the game, delighting players around the globe. We then launched a crossover with Persona 3 Reload, bringing the protagonists from both series face to face for another exciting addition. P5X has built a large audience on both PC and mobile, gaining players around the world who are new to the Persona series, and we are proud to say we continue to reach new fans as we welcome our anniversary. It is all thanks to our players, new and old alike, that Persona 5 The Phantom X has enjoyed this success and grown to this extent. Thank you again for your support. Community voices on the anniversary, and what's next for P5X. We've celebrated P5X's first anniversary beginning with the version 4.0 update on April 30th, continuing for 2 months to the June 25th version update 4.4. Version 4.4 marked the grand finale to our festivities, featuring our first collaboration from outside the Persona series. But we've heard from many players who had hoped to see content closer to an addition to the main story or collab with other Persona titles. Please accept our apologies if we have failed to meet your expectations, especially on this, the occasion of our first anniversary. In light of this, we hope to be able to share more information with our players as soon as the week of June 29th. We are preparing a special broadcast of around 8 minutes where we will share our future plans. We value the input from our players and intend to use these insights to better guide our future endeavors. We will strive to deliver an even better gaming experience for our players moving forward. We hope you will continue to enjoy Persona 5 The Phantom X. And on July 2nd, this special broadcast, or emergency broadcast, was aired. In it, the developers addressed a couple of complaints. The first had to do with Miku's numbers, which people apparently found underwhelming. I had seen a handful of complaints about this, but either way, they talked about it and addressed the fact that her numbers compared to their dev stream were indeed different. Most gachas I've seen tend to turn off damage numbers in official streams just to avoid this kind of issue. Either way, they talked about this and said she was receiving some kind of buff on her weapon, which I believe was already changed by the time this presentation aired. They then went on to address their second point, the lack of a Persona-related character for this anniversary. They launched a short video essentially revealing Kotone from Persona 3 Portable would be making her way to P5X in the future. They didn't say this, but this is likely for Persona's 30th anniversary in September or for the half anniversary mark in December. They spoke briefly that the future would likely include a Persona 4 collab, and the stream just kind of ends there. And that wraps up the anniversary timeline.
I bet you got a big fat F on them.
Okay, so if you were here to be informed, that ends here. I'm going to give my take here on out. If you can't stand to hear if someone agrees with you or not, I'm going to say now that I'm not completely for or against what the vocal community has said here. So if you don't like that kind of thing, you can just not watch this part. Anyways, to begin, I think the anniversary itself is fine. 2 5-star character selectors, 1 weapon selector, and a bunch of extra gems. I got nothing to complain about here. It's short, sweet, and to the point, and I need not much more than this. To start off, I actually like the idea of Hatsune Miku in Persona 5X. I feel like this was something that I kind of expected to happen at some point, since she already is featured within the series, and I wouldn't have pulled for the character if I wasn't at least okay with the idea. I think my own issues with it come down to the execution of how she's implemented within P5X, as opposed to the actual having an issue with the actual collaboration. I just want to talk a little bit more about how she's placed into the game, which is my only real issue, and I don't know if you even call it an issue, just something that I wish they would have changed around a little bit. I know a lot of people are more negative on it because it's supposed to be an anniversary, a celebration for the players, and Miku is just kind of definitely a new player pull because a collab usually is made to pull in new players rather than retain old ones, but it also could help retaining old ones, whatever. This is supposed to be a collaboration between P5X and Hatsune Miku. Yet, Miku shows no signs of being a P5X character. Every single original Persona 5X character has received a Phantom Thief outfit and a persona. They are meant to be part of Wonder's cognition of that person if they were in the metaverse. Miku does not have a Phantom Thief outfit, nor does she have a persona. She's just Hatsune Miku. And this is my problem. I said before that the Miku event feels like an afterthought. While I personally have no issue with short and easy events, I got other games to play and things to do. If I don't have to spend 2 hours on doing gacha events, I'm really not complaining. The time I spend on these gachas is for main story and endgame stuff, but all that being said, I do believe there is nothing memorable about this event. In a couple of months, most people will probably have forgotten about it. The story does nothing and is nothing. Miku is just there. And if you want an apt comparison for this, even Genshin's laughable Horizon Zero Dawn collab redesigned Aloy to one, fit Genshin's visual style, and they even gave her a vision, so she can use the elemental powers within the game's lore system. I won't argue that this collab is overall better than what Miku got, but in terms of just the character itself, it feels like they at least gave it a bit more of like a thematic fit. They didn't just like, here's Aloy's model from Horizon Zero Dawn, barely edited down, she's just in the game now, and whatever, who cares? And it's how she is presented at this point, but Miku doesn't get any of that. She doesn't get any relation to Persona 5X. She also appears in her Persona 4 dancing design. It's not just here's base Hatsune Miku, it's here's Hatsune Miku from Persona 4 dancing. There's nothing P5X about her. No persona, no outfit, nothing. This is more effectively a Persona 5X cross Persona 4 dancing collab more than anything. My problem is that if this is how she was going to be handled, I feel like she should have just been a unit that they add at the end of a Persona 4 dancing collab. So she's like a surprise bonus unit or something. Additionally, if these patches are made a year in advance, why is she designed to fill a similar niche to Anj? She's the same role and fires off a very similar function, which just makes people confused. Even if she is a little different and works for other teams, the 2 teams that the community believes she benefits the most from are not released in global, and the unit for one of those teams has seemingly been delayed into August instead of releasing right after this patch. I'm just wondering what the thought process is here, because Miku could have easily just been a regular support instead of a navigator, and if you don't want her to team up with Anj, just make the comp incompatible the way you do with characters who are the same person. I don't like the thought of introducing that kind of thing into this game, but at the very least, if you really wanted to keep her same function and not allow her to be with Anj or whatever, then this would add some barrier of difference between the 2 units. I just feel like everything about this is not handled in a way that really makes a lot of sense. Like it feels like a lot of things just aren't done in a way that this game usually presents them. And on the topic of collabs, I can accept certain collabs not forcing characters to have personas, like Metaphor and SMT. These characters that exist outside the world of Shadows and Demons of the SMT series should gain some form of persona-like power, and even a special design just to make the collabs feel more fun. Miku was definitely made to bring new players in, and while I don't mind her inclusion, I do feel that a portion of it just feels bland. On the topic of the emergency broadcast, I really think it should have been more important to address how bare bones the Miku story was. Whether it be restriction by Sega or an issue on the side of making her fit into the universe, the general feeling behind the first broadcast is that it felt like they were locked in too hard on the numbers thing, because I don't feel like a lot of people were saying she was weak. I saw some people here and there saying her numbers felt a little low. I don't know, it didn't bother me at the time. Maybe I'm missing something, but the numbers thing I was really confused about, because I didn't think that was that big of an issue, and then they spent like 8 minutes talking about it, which is crazy. And as far as the reveal of Kotone, I saw several people complain that the stream revealed nothing, which is untrue, because this is an actual reveal. Yes, it was apparently leaked a while ago, but a leak is not an official reveal. They were never going to add more content to the event that's just not really possible within the time constraints of the game's cycle. You can argue that, oh, then they should bump up the next patch so we don't have to wait as long for more content. But the problem with that is that eventually you get to a point where you have to bump a patch to an extra week. So instead of 2 weeks, the patch is now 3 weeks for no reason. In the end, I felt that the stream was 50-50. Half of it was dedicated to something I didn't think was an issue, and the other half was fine. In the end, this certainly was an experience. I can live with what has happened, and will continue to play the game. It's messy, but I don't think there's much that can change in the near future. We can only hope that a year from now, Sega, Atlus, and Black Wings have understood the issues at their core, and have improved on what they will deliver next anniversary, or whatever the case might be, the next sync patch. I don't know.
Hell yeah! Merry Christmas!
He didn't hear a word of that.
And with that, Persona 5 The Phantom X's first global anniversary comes to a close. A popularity poll, a bunch of free in-game rewards, and a somewhat bare-bones Hatsune Miku collab. It didn't really do anything to affect my current perception of the game. All I hope is that the focus shifts a bit. And we'll have to see. But from what I do see on the CN side of things, it looks kind of crowded for a variety of reasons, which we won't touch on here. I think that's a topic for another time. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments down below about the anniversary. You can leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for more things Persona, Atlus, and JRPG related. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Feels his strength in place! It's over! Shine as one! The Astrophism!